So today for you I have a Ancient Gear deck profile. This is more of a OTK going second OTK deck profile. Ancient Gear is a decently deck that can do some things. Well, I will show you the deck list and I will tell you and show you some combos. So for this deck list, we only play one Ancient Gear Golem. Playing too much, you never want to see this in your opening. You only want to special summon it if you can. That's it. Only one for the for your own fusion. Then we play the best card in the deck, or one of these, Ancient Gear WYVERN. So this card searches every Ancient Gear card except itself. So this is any searcher. So it can search any spell card you want, or Ancient Gear box and then box effect to search again. So this is a very strong card. Yeah, sure. Next, Ancient Gear Frame. I play 3 of this one because he has a good effect for discard and to search an Ancient Gear Golem if you need it, or the fusion spell, Ancient Gear Fusion. Very strong card. I mainly play it because of its name, the Ancient Gear name, because to summon Chaos Ancient Gear Giant you need 4 names and you want to see as many as possible. So this one is actually the best one, and this effect is decently used. So then we have 3 Ancient Gear Hunting Hound. This is the worst Ancient Gear card in this deck, I think, but still very necessary because it can fusion summon when it's on field. So it's very strong if you can't really get to Ancient Gear Fusion and you have your normal summon left. And it also does burn on normal summon. But you mainly use it for the Ancient Gear name, and its effect is a secondary great effect. For the last Ancient Gear monster, we play Ancient Gear box, add it to your hand with Ancient Gear WYVERN, or add it to your hand with Ancient Gear BALLISTA. Very strong. This gets so many cards in your hand to use your Ancient Gear Fusion for. Very strong card. I thought about keeping it at 2, but if you draw it, it's a sword, it's a brick. You never want it. The problem with the Ancient Gear monsters is they are all normal summons. They don't have any way to special summon themselves. And there is the problem. That is such a problem for Ancient Gear monsters that they cannot really have special summons. But thanks for Konami, so we have some special summon cards to help us with this. From the newest set, the Darkwing Blast and the Power of the Elements, we have the Furnace Sylph cards. I only play 3 Furnace Sylphs. So the Thawing Mountains, the Mystic Seedlings, and the Flourishing Field. So I only play 3 of the cards because when you see more than 2 in your hand, you're donezo. And when you draw 1, you can mostly play with your Ancient Gear, because every one of these says discard a card, do something, and then special summon. So you can special summon these cards back, getting their effects, or getting to use their effects when they're on the field. So that's why I play this package. Why I play this specific package is for this reason. When you draw one of these 2 cards, you can discard an Ancient Gear monster. You can search this one with this effect, or this one with this effect. Doesn't really matter. Then you can special summon, use this effect again. If you, for instance, if you have Ancient Gear WYVERN, you definitely have Ancient Gear box, and then can add Ancient Gear Frame. So you can discard this one and frame, getting this one to your hand, special summon Ancient Gear Frame. So you can discard this one with Ancient Gear Frame if needed, or you can use it and draw a card, but depends on your hand. So the Furnace Sylph cards definitely help with this build because you can only normal summon once. The last monster in the deck is Pancratops. I do not really like Pancratops. It's a good card, it's a great card, it can do something, but in this build it's not the best. I will show you why later on, but I'm still looking for something else in this, except for this card. But it's still a great card nonetheless, because you're going second most of the time in this deck variant. I play 3 Ancient Gear Fusions. So Ancient Gear Fusion, you can fusion summon using Ancient Gear monsters. And when you have Ancient Gear Golem on the field, you can use monsters from your deck. So that's why when you are able to have Ancient Gear Golem on the field, this card is very great because it's a free Ancient Gear Chaos Ancient Gear Giant using your deck. And I will show you how you can summon him later. But, you play 3 Gear Town because you want to see this card very, very badly. I know you can search it, but when you start with this combo in your hand, your life is like so much better. Ancient Gear Catapult. When you control no monsters, you can activate this card. Destroy 1 face-up card on the field, and then summon an Ancient Gear monster from your deck, ignoring its summoning condition. So in this way, you can special summon Ancient Gear Golem. Then, when this card is destroyed in a separate chain, you can summon another Ancient Gear monster. So you can, for instance, summon Ancient Gear Howitzer of WYVERN, my apologies. Add to your hand Ancient Gear Box, Ancient Gear Box effect, Ancient Gear Frame. You can then normal summon Frame, activate Frame to search for the fusion. Sorry. Activate Frame, search for the fusion. So, and then you have of course you have Ancient Gear Golem on field. When you use it, you have your free combo. So this card destroys. This card really destroys everything you ever want to know about this deck. So if you open with this, it's crazy. But you can also use this second effect that it doesn't come up very often. You can only use one of these effects per turn, and when it's in the graveyard, you can banish it to destroy 1 card on your field, and then you summon an Ancient Gear token. So that isn't really used, but you can of course discard it and then use it with Ancient Gear Frame if needed to. But you can also use, I only have 1 for so far, but 3 Ancient Gear Fortress. This card, Ancient Gear Fortress, and you need to play 3 off, but I don't have them, but I will buy them soon because it's a crazy card. This card lets you do everything. So when an Ancient Gear card is played, they cannot be negated, it cannot be destroyed only for that turn. So this card says you can play your turn. So even though they have 1,000 negates, they have to destroy this one. And it also says that when this card is destroyed, so you can destroy it, you can special summon an Ancient Gear monster from your graveyard or from your hand. So it's an extra thing. You rather see Gear Town because Gear Town summons from deck, but Ancient Gear Fortress is still something else. So it's still not a bad card. So 3 of these is amazing when you can see it. Maybe you can play 2, but I think when it says you can play your turn, it's amazing. So for the OTK build, I play 3 Swords of Concealing Lights. This card says all of your opponent's face-up monsters turn face down, and then they cannot for 2 turns they cannot be removed, or they cannot be flipped face up. So it's great. It mostly gets negated, of course, or you try something else and then you use this card. But you can also play this card because it has to be stay on the field, and then you can Ancient Gear Catapult this card if you needed to. So that's very strong of this card. So that's why it's at 3. And because your Chaos Ancient Gear Giant can attack every monster that they have, and it has piercing, I think this is a pretty good card. And to go together with it, you have a Book of Eclipse. It actually says the same thing, just face, but this is for all monsters, so keep that in mind. That's why I do not really like Pancratops. But it's still something. They go all face down, and at the end of the turn, flip all face down monsters face up, and then your opponent gets to draw cards for every card that is flipped. But you have Chaos Ancient Gear Giant, that's what you want to summon, so you mostly kill them through this. So the second effect doesn't come up very often. Then, because people play the Ralok at my locals, we have 3 Dark Hole. It's 20 cents. You want to destroy your own board before starting, or you can play Dark Hole, then negate it, and then play Eclipse or the source of concealing light. So it's more of a bait card, but hey, if they don't, sure, you can still play around it because ancient gear cards can also go first. So next up is 3 super polymerizations. It's a very strong card. You have the extra deck space for it. Why not use it? Amazing card. 10 out of 10. I would recommend this card again. And as last, you can Change of Heart. It's a very strong card. Why not use it? Simple as that. You can also Change of Heart. It probably gets negated. Then you can use your Concealing Light, Book of Eclipse, Super Poly you can use always. Or just Folder. I think it's a strong card. I'm still looking for other cards, but I don't know yet. So we are now going to the extra deck. So this has to be a Baguska, please. Keep that in mind. So first of all, I start with the most important card in the deck, Ancient Gear Ballista. You can play it at 1, I play it at 2, but this card is insane. It says you can search an Ancient Gear card, an Ancient Gear monster, or you can summon the search the Gear Town. And then, so most of the time you just search Ancient Gear box and then use that effect to refill your hand. Or when you search the field spell, or you have another spell spell card on the field, you can target one of your you can target one of your face-up spell cards on the field, destroy them, then reduce the attack of one of your opponent's monsters to 0. So that's very strong, of course. If they have a Ling monster, that is very annoying. And then if you destroyed Gear Town or your looking for it, the Ancient Gear Fortress, you can use their effects, of course. So that's very strong. So this card is an amazing card, search card. It does so much. It refills your hand for an extra Ancient Gear monster for your fusion summon if needed to. Or you can use the effect if you have an annoying Ling monster. Crazy, crazy. I play 2 Chaos Ancient Gear Giant. This is the main boss monster. It can attack it needs 4 Ancient Gear monsters. So it's very hard, but it's very easy, of course, also. It has piercing, can attack every monster your opponent controls, has 4,500 attack. So, and at last, it cannot be, it's unaffected by spell cards, as spell and trap cards. Oh my god, that's so amazing. If all their monsters are face down, it's just GG if you can summon this one. Crazy card. You can play that one. I'm still trying to find out the ratios. I think you can use this for more cards, but I'm still trying it out because you don't really grind game, and if you don't really play the grind game, but you can play the grind game with the most amazing card in the extra deck, Ancient Gear Howitzer. This card is overpowered. It's not overpowered, but it's very, very strong. If you do not draw the right cards, but you can get rid of your opponent's board, this you can fusion summon this one with only 2 Ancient Gear monsters. This card is unaffected by card effects. Any card effects. It doesn't matter. Unaffected. It does 1,000 damage a turn, so you can stall with it. And so you mostly put it in defense. And when this card is destroyed, you can special summon an Ancient Gear monster from the deck, ignoring its summoning condition. So this can also search Ancient Gear Golem, but most of the time this gets destroyed in your opponent's turn. Summon Wyvern, Wyvern effect, add the fusion card or Ancient Gear box, depends on you. You can play 2 of these cards, but most of the time you are in a grind game and you want as much of these cards as possible. So that's why they're 3 off. But you can also play 2 cards, and then of course you have 3 more extra deck monsters. Ultimate Ancient Gear Golem, very strong card, 4,400 beater. It's very hard to summon, but it's a banishing. It's not a banishing. It's a piercing damage card. Yeah, it's when it attacks, your opponent cannot activate spell trap cards. You never summon this card. This card you can you mostly summon with the Ancient Gear. How's it called? Megaton Giant. Or Megaton Golem. My apologies. Ancient Gear Megaton Golem. You need 3 Ancient Gear monsters for this card. Doesn't really do much. This card can attack up to the amount of Ancient Gear Golems used for this card as a material. Doesn't really do much. Cannot be destroyed by card effects, so that's amazing. And when this card is destroyed by a battle, you can special summon this card from your extra deck. Then if this card is destroyed, you can special summon an Ancient Gear Golem, ignoring its summoning condition. So it's a little bit of a package of annoying, being annoying, but yeah, removing from field without being destroyed is very strong these days. So it's not that great, but it's something. For the rest of the extra deck, we have our fusion package for Super Poly, Garura, Mudragon, and Dragosphelia. There's nothing more to say. They're there for Super Polymerization. Then we have our Link 4 package. Abyss Dweller is the strongest card in the game. You can go first with this deck. With this deck. It's an amazing going first deck also, but it's stronger going second. You play Divine Arsenal Zeus. It's good clearance, and this has to be Buguska, but I couldn't find it. Buguska into Divine Arsenal Zeus. That's mostly the play you make. That's it. And why this card? Why this deck? This was the extra deck, but why this deck can also go first is because it's not the greatest, but you play floodgates in your side deck, like Rivalry of the Warlords, these are all 3-offs, and you can suffer your opponent, make your opponent suffer with these cards. Keep in mind, this there can only be one also is against you, so you have to play around it as a smart man, but at least it's something. This card is of course unaffected Ancient Gear Howitzer. It's unaffected by every other card, so it's just still a very strong card. Rivalry, you can only control one type of card, so or one machine, or only dragons, or only worms. Nah, well, so it's also very strong because you only play machines. And Tikaboo makes it so you can only have one card of it on the field, so only one machine, for instance. So that's when you can also go first, because you just make Dweller, hope you can draw into these, and that's actually it. You also play 3 DD Crow because it's still a strong card. You can also play the Bestials, but those are expensive, and I don't have the money. Droll and Lockbirds. It's a strong card, good against most decks. This card can be everything, depends on your locals, but this is strong against my locals. And as last, you play 3 evenly matched. If you know you're going second and they know they can counter you with your going second cards, evenly matched just deals with their whole board. And then you can play the grind game with your fusion monster, with your Ancient Gear Howitzer, and then try to win that way. Keep in mind, every turn you can deal 1000 damage. So, and it's special summons and it loops itself. So, sure, why not? This was the deck list. Hope you enjoyed, and when I ever play with this deck at my locals, I will say what I can do better next time. You can also play DD D-Shifter, but I don't think it's the best card, but I think you can play it. Let me oh no, D-Shifter doesn't work for this card, so that you have to keep in mind the Gear Town. But for the rest, it can be okay. So this was the deck profile. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you found anything about it. And Ancient Gears can actually play these days. So yeah, why not try it out? Have a nice day.